So, like the title says, you're looking at the Sutton House, designed by Frank Lloyd Wright in Mccook, Nebraska, also known as the Harvey P. Sutton, maybe sometimes the Harvey P. and Eliza Sutton House. Those were the original owners who commissioned Wright to design and build the house in the early 1900s. Now they got workers painting the wall, for what it's worth. At least they were working the day I was there. This house is well known in Mccook. It's pretty easy to find, even though it's privately owned and not available for tours as far as I know. This also happens to be the only home designed by Frank Lloyd Wright in the state of Nebraska. And when I heard the city of Mccook had a Frank Lloyd Wright house, I knew I had to stop, because in my hometown there is also a building designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, his only skyscraper, the Price Tower. Obviously, two completely different types of buildings, but designed by the same person. Next door to the Sutton House is a smaller dwelling, but also notable as the boyhood home of a former governor, and there is a statue out front you can identify that house by, and you can see the Sutton House in the background of this shot. Across the street from the Sutton House in the other direction is the Judicial Center, and whether the architect would admit it or not, I'd like to think they chose this design because of the prairie style of their nearby neighbor. Within walking distance of the Sutton House in downtown Mccook, there are some other buildings to look at. The old post office, the courthouse, and the old Carnegie Library, which has a clock with the Sutton's name on it. In front of the Carnegie Library, you'll also find this buffalo statue. But if you go behind the building, you'll find a retired caboose. It's always neat to look at a retired caboose, isn't it? Mccook, Nebraska, of all places. Burlington Northern. Yellow and green. Well, that was nice to see. Old caboose, and it's a short walk from the Sutton House, like I said. So, one last thing I wanted to show about Mccook, Nebraska before we wrap this up. Short drive from the house is a property with a lot of old cars. This red pickup is an old Studebaker truck, but most of the vehicles on the property are old Fords. You know, if you watch this channel much, that I do a lot of car/automobile related videos, so you knew I was going to have to stop and get some pictures of these. Here we got an old Ford station wagon, of pickup truck, and a camper van. I think the camper van is a Ford. And at a nearby property, not directly related to this, was a nice gentleman who owned a 1964 International Scout. Well, thank you for watching, and if you happen to be driving through or passing through, or even living in Mccook, be sure you drop by and look at some of this stuff. Have a great day.